that is an initiation for one of our members of our community here. So, but to Tom, I forgot your last name. Blair. Palace people. Yeah. But we're going to have something to eat after the ceremony, and it'll be tastier than pierogies. Okay, great. So we'll start off by speaking a little bit from our sacred text, Bhagavad Gita. And for those of you who are new to our system here, um, we have on an altar an image of our Guru Maharaj, who started the Hare Krishna movement. Srila Prabhupada is his name for short. We also have brass deities of Gaura and Nitai. They are great, let's say, renowned manifestations of the Supreme. Chaitanya and Nityananda are their names, and we honor them, and we are very happy about their presence. Normally, when we have a initiation ceremony like this, we speak a little bit from Shastra or scripture, and then we usually have a fire, but we're eliminating that. And we'll just speak a little bit about the significance of initiation, entering into the spiritual family of Srila Prabhupada. And we also give a name, a Sanskrit name. So Tom will have a name in addition. We're not removing his current name. You know, you can keep your passport and your license with your name on it. It'll be what it is. And but we'll just give you a Sanskrit name to make you feel like you're part of the, you know, our Vedic family here. So we'll start. Thank you very much, everyone. Om Jnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshur Unmilitam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha. I was born in the darkest ignorance. My spiritual master opened my eyes with the torch of knowledge. I offer my respectful obeisances unto him. Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Thank you very much. And Tom, I hope you're okay. I hope you're not nervous. Me too. Me too. It's mutual. That's okay. Things only get better from here. All right. So today is the date. We're in the month of May, and we've already got 3 days. We're on the third day. For those of you who are fortunate, you can tell people, May the 4th be with you tomorrow. You can say that tomorrow. Okay, so it's May the 3rd, so it's the 5th month. I'm just going to sneak peek here and see what is happening on the 5th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. This is called Karma Yoga, Action in Krishna Consciousness. And it's verse number 3, since it's day number 3. How do you like that? Just aligning it with the date. Okay, great. So first of all, let's explore what is karma. We'll just put it in very simple terms. We'll keep things really simple. Karma means action, and yoga means to connect with the Supreme, with the Absolute, with God. And so that is done through action, you know, connecting with God through action. And of course, there are different forms of action. Some are very positive and some are rather negative. And reaction also has the same, let's say, connotations, positive and negative. So we're talking more about the positive side. I'm going to recite to you a very interesting verse, which is this one, chapter 5 and verse number 3. And it's in Sanskrit, but then I'll give it to you. Well, I'm not Ukrainian, and I know it's a Ukrainian building. I don't know any Ukraine, but has anybody got Ukrainian blood here? Anybody? Okay, fantastic. It's good blood, by the way. I just want to say. I like that. Okay, but we'll do it in English for the sake of everyone. Geya sa nitya sannyasi. Yo na dveshti na kankshati. Nirdvandvo hi mahabaho. Sukham bandhat pramujate. This is Krishna speaking, by the way, to his friend, eternal friend, Arjun, who happens to be a warrior. This is what Krishna says. One who neither hates nor desires the fruits of activities is known to be always renounced. Such a person, free from all dualities, easily overcomes material bondage and is completely liberated, O mighty armed Arjun. And we're going to give a little explanation. We'll read it out, the explanation that's a commentary by our spiritual master, Srila Prabhupada. Here it is. One who is fully in Krishna consciousness is always a renouncer because she feels neither hatred nor desire for the results of his actions. Such a renouncer, dedicated to the transcendental loving service of the Lord, is fully qualified in knowledge because he knows his constitutional position in his relationship with Krishna. He knows fully well that Krishna is the whole and that he is part and parcel of Krishna. Such knowledge is perfect because it is qualitatively and quantitatively correct. The concept of oneness with Krishna is incorrect because the part cannot be equal to the whole. Knowledge that one is one in quality, yet different in quantity, is correct transcendental knowledge, leading one to become full in himself, having nothing to aspire to or lament over. There is no duality in his mind because whatever he does for Krishna, being thus freed from the platform of dualities or devotion to God. So that's what Krishna is being reminding Arjun, his friend, about. Arjun is addressed here with a Sanskrit name. It's called Baho. And Mahabaho means one who has strong arms, which is usually typical. Well, he's also given different names by Arjuna. And say, like, for instance, is given the name Govinda, which means that one who is very, let's say, protective and friendly of the animals, especially the cows. There are other names like Madhava. It's another name of Krishna, which refers to his being the eternal, let's say, consort of Lakshmi, goddess of fortune. Is anybody familiar with Lakshmi? Okay, she's a great goddess that we honor. And the closest reference I can give is to, if you go to New York and you see the lady up there with her, that statue. Okay, great, great. A great symbol. And so Krishna is just, with this nomenclature, he's just telling Arjuna, you can do mighty things. You can do great things. Just try to take to this practice of karma yoga. So as we mentioned earlier on, karma means action. And if we were all to be part of a movie set, I guess we're kind of getting there. This is giving me the idea. Movie set. And you got the actors that are there, and you got all the technical people out there. And the director goes, lights, camera. He could say, karma, because karma means action. Okay? So that means let's get going. Let's get moving. Speak your lines. Perform your actions. We cannot live. Let's get off the movie set right now. Are we losing? Let's get off the movie set right now and let's deal with reality. Okay. Krishna is very strongly recommending to his friend, his warrior, that fight and strike when it's needed. Otherwise, resist, hold back. And I think we can all kind of relate to that. You're walking through the grass a little bit, and I think, oh my God, I hope I didn't catch any ticks, because they're out there in the month of May. And the last week I was in a place in Canada. I got a few ticks. The good thing about wearing dhotis like this, guys, gals, light color, the ticks show up really good. You know? If you're wearing denim colors and black, and you can't tell they're there, and you might be carrying them for a while, you know. So I mentioned about ticks because there's something that you have to fight. I wouldn't advise that you take them on as your pets, uh, because they are fatal if you do get friendly with them. And everybody's heard about the Lyme disease. Does anybody know? I'm from Canada. Does anybody know this young guy? He's from Canada, Justin Bieber. Yes? Okay. All right. Everyone's heard of him. Okay. He's been suffering from Lyme disease. Maybe you know some other people who have had this problem. So, anyways, when you have disease, you have to fight it. There's one great scholar in our tradition. His name's Chanakya Pandit, and he lived a long time ago, and he was an advisor to the king. And he said, you have to put, there's three things you should put out, if I'm not mistaken. It's been a long time since I mentioned this. But fire, if there's fire in the building, put it out as soon as possible. If you got debt, put it out as soon as possible. And if you've got disease, put that out as quickly as you can, you know, ASAP, you know. So I think that's natural. I think that makes very pragmatical sense, you know. These are the things we need to deal with. So why would anybody be interested in, you know, karma yoga? A lot of people have a misunderstanding about yoga. Yoga, for a lot of people, means wearing tight clothes and twisting your, doing a lot of stretches and doing breathing exercises, which is called pranayama, and asanas, which is sitting postures. And this is all part of the yoga system. And we embrace this in our tradition. Of course, we're a little more, let's say, uh, crazy. Have a more of a frenzy towards bhakti yoga, which is slightly different. Yoga is not meant to be just a physical exercise. It's meant to be a change of heart, really. That's what we're talking about here. Having a change of heart and appreciating those things that are out there. I was mentioning to some of our folks when we just, uh, some of others of yourselves arrived, and last October, it took 8 days for me to walk the expanse of the Netherlands. And my ancestry is from there. And I was very surprised to know the organizers got in touch with my relatives that I've not met before, cousins. They're in the late 90s, 60s, sorry. Well, not that old yet. 60s, early 70s. And they came to join me. You know, I was so surprised. And at the end of the walk, we had a family reunion. And I was saying to the crowd, about 30 of them came, and they had some really nice vegetarian food. And it was, we call it prashadam. And it was a really nice experience. I I sat behind a microphone like this, and I explained to them, you know, why I'm walking. And I must say, the media attention was really big. At least out of 8 days, 11 major newspapers came over to see me personally and ask about my walk, what it's all about. They were intrigued with that human interest quality. Like, say, for instance, a Canadian monk walks the Netherlands to explore his roots. No, it sounds good, doesn't it? Sounds really good. In fact, when I'm doing these long walks, my greatest moments, some of the greatest moments, are when I'm meeting with the journalists, because they're usually well-read people. They usually put out a good story, and they're very intrigued, you know, what this walking, which is like a pilgrimage, is all about. They like it a lot. So, in fact, sitting on park benches with them or in a studio, and the last group of people, two younger men, they came, and they came into the banquet hall where we had our family reunion, and they were thinking, oh, this interview like any old thing. But when I talked about why I'm walking, it's to promote, you know, introspective walking, is to get more in touch with nature, get a little closer to yourself, understand you're not the body, you're a spirit, and we all have a purpose here. It kind of touched their hearts, and you could see in the beginning they were like this, nose a little bit in the air. These two guys like this, and then by the end it was over. Um, well, they had all these questions. They were really inquisitive, and but one thing that was quite intriguing about this family reunion is that I was able to tell my relatives who are Christians, most of them are Catholics, and I told them that when I became a monk, you probably heard about me. Yeah. We heard about you. You became a hermit, left your family, blah, 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 all that kind of stuff. And it was a little exaggerated, really, the stories that they heard. And I told them that, when I became a monk in the Krishna consciousness movement, following this form of yoga, I did not leave Jesus. I kept him with me, but then I added Krishna onto my life. And their big question mark is that, you mean you can do that? You can have Jesus and this Krishna fellow. And my answer to them was clear. Oh, yes, you can do that. You can do that. It's not a black and white situation. It was very inclusive. So I'm just bringing this point up that we don't always have to pick a fight. We don't have to see black and white. We can say there's a case for us all coming together and joining hands, if you will, without being a hippie, or and and praising God, and who has different names. In fact, one of the fellows I met on the first walk I did across Canada, he was carrying barley. He was a trucker, an older guy, and I could tell by his mannerisms, like his truck broke down on the side of the highway, and he said, "So I heard about what you're doing." He came over to my side of the road where I'm walking. It's a 2-lane uh, highway, and so what's going on? What are you doing this for? And I said, "Oh, I'm walking to promote spiritual awareness and a spiritual healing for the nation. We're suffering a lot." And, he agreed with me, and I gave him a pamphlet, and he started reading it. Yeah, but you've got a different God than I do. And I said, "Well, I don't really see it that way." And I pointed up to the sun, and I said, "Here you go." I pointed up to the sun, and I said, "We call this the sun. In India, they say Surya. In Quebec, the French speaking province, they call it Soleil. And so there's different names to imply the one entity, that beautiful entity that we call the sun. So we're going by different names, but we're really just talking about the same personality. So I don't know if he really accepted everything, but somebody was on the walkie-talkie with him, so he had to get back to business. But my point is this, that we have a lot more similarities than we have differences. And if there are differences that we want to take note of, then why don't we celebrate how they are complementing each other? We can avoid a lot of fighting by just sharing. And that might sound scary to some people. How can you share? I am who I am and you are. That's us and them mentality. And it's all kind of like a black and white kind of culture. We've been kind of molded to be that way. It's us and them. So I just want to say that in regards to what Krishna is telling Arjuna is that uh, try, try to learn detachment from the world, try to be very attached to service to others, show kindness, and do not become so involved in the desire for so many fruitive results, materialistic results. Rather look for spiritual results, because um, those results will stay with you, whereas material results will not. You know, nobody's going to leave this body. I mean, you can put all of your acquisitions, everything all your possession, try to put it in the coffin with you, or if you're going to go to be burned, like as in a cremation, but you're not going to be able to take any of that with you. So we are just left as we are, We are the soul, by the way. That is our true identity. We are not this body. And that was one of the beautiful things that Srila Prabhupada, our Guru Maharaj, would always hint at. That, and when we see it that way, we have a chance to succeed in life in our very troubled world. It was pointed out to me that a Southern preacher, an African American, I heard his little spiel to his congregation. So Ahmed, like if I can imitate him a little bit from the South, how people talk there. It's different than Ohio folks. Okay, I met a Hindu, and he was saying that they address each other with a namaste. Now, what does namaste mean? I'm telling you folks. Namaste means that I respect the God in you, and you respect the God in me when there's this mutual, exchange. Now, people say namaste. So if God is recognized to be in every one, why are we fighting? If it's the same kind of unit, God as what we call Paramatma inside, why are we fighting? So he was this Baptist preacher, he was trying to train his congregation how to say namaste. He believed in the bona fides of this address, namaste. So he said, now say namaste. And so they would start off, and maybe I'll ask you to repeat, namaste.
Namaste.
Well, yeah, that's pretty good. And then I say it louder.
Namaste.
Okay. How they get fiery and all this, and then again, a kind of nice, positive way. So if we can just see the God principle in all forms of life, then there's no need to see this black and white kind of scenario. It's really better to see the oneness in all of us. So while there is God there in you, it doesn't mean that you are it. It doesn't mean that you are God. We are part and parcel of God. Okay, just like a piece of pie. I think of America. It says apple pie. As American as apple pie, right? So you take a piece of pie, and it's a piece of pie. It's not the pie. It's a piece of pie. Okay. So when I walked across the U.S., I started in 2015 at Boston Harbor. And then from there, I tried to stick to Highway 80, which is the oldest highway in the world, also known as the Lincoln Highway. And I made it to Butler, Pennsylvania, which is where our Guru Maharaj, Srila Prabhupada, started the whole mission in 1965. He spent 1 month there and stayed at the YMCA. If you go there to Butler, Pennsylvania, the building is still there. But the YMCA, they have a new building, but the old one is still there. I really keep it there. So they use it as a gym and so on like that. People come to do their gymnastics. It's really quite a stately building in some ways. And so I went to Butler, Pennsylvania. I can proudly say that when I was there, the Butler Eagle newspaper came, just like they did 50 years before. And they asked Prabhupada why he has come to America. And his remark was, I've come here to teach you something like what you already know, but you've forgotten. But the main thing that is quoted in the article by Srila Prabhupada is that if Americans paid more attention to their spiritual life, they would be happier, right? Does everyone believe in that? If we paid attention to our spirituality, we'd be in a more happy condition. So I'm kind of proud to say that 50 years later, almost at the same date, because it was in the fall or late summer, that I quoted that to the journalist who came out from the Butler Eagle, the same newspaper. Anyway, from Butler, I went to New York. Now that seems like I'm going backwards. Started from Atlantic, I'm going to Butler, inland, and zipping back. I did that because I was just following Prabhupada's route. He was 1 month in Butler, Pennsylvania, then he spent a good amount of time in New York City before he went to the West Coast and started the mission there. Okay, so I looked at this, I observed this, my itinerary and my route that I was following said this is like a piece of pie. It's like very American. Okay, but a piece of the pie. I didn't do the whole country just yet. So what we want to express to you and emphasize to you is that we are not God. We're a small part of God, but we're not God. There's a difference between the two. We might be qualitatively have the those traits of the absolute, but not in full. Quantitatively, we are not. And if any of you will accept that, if it makes sense to you, that is there anybody here? Let me put it this way: is anybody God here? Because there's some people who believe that. Is God here in this room? How many people are a servant of God or a part of God? Is that okay? You're doing okay? I mean, do you really, if you believe it, then put your hand up there. Namaste. So we are part of, and because we're not part of the whole, and it puts us into a position where we're just kind of small, in a way insignificant, but we become significant when we engage in service to the whole. The part serves the whole. So this is where Krishna is going when he's speaking to Arjuna. We are not the absolute, but we're part of. And in the 9th chapter of this great book, Krishna is talking about, yes, we're all little, tiny little mental parts of the absolute, but you become great or you're recognized as great when you engage in service to the great. Atma is the term in Sanskrit that means you're the soul. When we say Mahatma, it means you are a great soul. And a great soul is somebody who thinks, I'm just a little peon, I'm just a little almost insignificant. I'm like an ant. I'm like a tick. And I do tick people off by my behavior. So if we can get that down, that would really be nice. I'm a servant to the community, to the world. I contribute something, and that's when we're happiest. That's when we're working in our natural state. That's when our karma, our action, is appropriate. And so that's what Krishna is telling Arjuna. It's not very complicated. In fact, it's quite easy. And when you explain this to the world, that listen, when a storm comes, a heavy storm, like I think you probably have had some heavy snowstorms this winter. It's been frigid, and what's the good thing about it? Does anybody like big storm? I do. I get excited. Wow, look at this drama, and I feel humbled. So and recently I also learned that snow has a lot of nitrogen in it, if it's in the case of snow. So it helps the soil, Did you know that? Well, those people who complain from Florida, oh, I don't like your snow. Well, it helps our soil, so shut up. Shanti, Shanti, shut up. Yes. So, the philosophy that Krishna presents to Arjuna is maybe nothing new, but it's just a reiteration of what we already may know, which is latent. It's in our hearts. And when someone just spells it out, said, yeah, that makes sense. Okay, great. So when somebody comes forward and wants to go for like let's say the formality and making official that I am now a devotee of Krishna, I believe in what he says through what we call Diksha. That's a very honorable thing. So I want to thank Tom for doing that and coming forward to become a member of the Bhakti Club of Prabhupada's family, a spiritual family. And it's good to make commitments. Commitments are important, whether you're at work or whether you take a course in school. it's good. Or if you get married to someone, it's a good idea. Listen, I'm committed to you, uh, through thick and thin. I mean, it used to be like that. You know, you know, and so making commitments to Krishna, and particularly in our International Society for Krishna Consciousness, it means to recognize Prabhupada's, preeminence, that he is the guru for our movement, for our institution. He went through great lengths to come to America and the rest of the world at the mature age of 69, just turning 70. And he did come to America where he'd never seen snow in his whole life. And it was a very interesting. He looked at it with great interest. He would go to the grocery store, and he'd say, "Wow, potatoes, and there's no dirt on them." It's just everything was quite clean that way. He enjoyed the system. And he'd go around in New York and look at buildings, and we need a chapter here. We need a building, and we need to have a place where people can come, something we can call our own. And that was always on his mind. And he worked at this to secure buildings, properties, farms, and so on like that. He was really here. He came to America to help Americans, frankly. Now, somebody might say that he has the gall, to come here. But anybody who has come to America with all the installments of immigration in the past, whether you're Polish or Ukrainian or Indian or this, that, Russian, everyone came to add something to the culture, beautifully, right? And what Prabhupada came to bring was this practice of Bhakti yoga, and not just what we call karma yoga, but really a more advanced form of karma yoga is Bhakti yoga, when it's done with love. Everything's done, service is done in love, and with a smile. If you look at any of our deities, whether it's Krishna or Ram or Sita, anybody, Gaur Nitai, it's always with a smile. Service with a smile. Okay, that's an old term, I guess. When you pump gas, and service with a smile, the friendly guy that comes along. Again, that's something from the past, perhaps. But Prabhupada came here to bring some of the good old stuff. And this, anyways, I have a lot of things to say on that one. But when one comes to Krishna consciousness and wants to formalize it, we make certain commitments. Like we have 4 regular principles that we honor, and we have, a certain amount of rounds that we chant on our mala beads, our meditational beads. It takes about an hour and a half to 2 hours every day, which people take time out to do. And it's all to get connected with Krishna. So there are some, let's say, offenses that we try to avoid when it comes to chanting on the beads, such as don't get into criticizing people who are already on the spiritual path. Let's not get critical. Let's not be judgmental in general. Let's see the good in people, and this is a bad habit. Everyone's heard of gossip. I just put together a poem, and we put it to a music video. Loose tongue monster. It's called Loose Tongue Monster, and it's when out of nowhere or out of the blue, or when it's not necessary or not called for to criticize other people, but rather to see the good points. Maybe someone has some, let's say, idiosyncrasies. That's very possible. We all have shortcomings, but let's not highlight that. Let's not put that under the microscope. Right? Let's see the good in each other, and that creates a good atmosphere, a very productive atmosphere. If you want to be negative, you won't get production. Nothing will come down the production line. That is quite negative. So What Prabhupada did was very unique, I would say, coming to the world and transplanting an ancient information, which I think intuitively people know is right. Let's serve, let's be kind, let's be respectful. We're all essentially the same. So he did that for us, and basically he reminded us of what we may have already known. So thank you very much, Tom, for coming forward. And without a fire, I guess I can do swaha, swaha, swaha. You know, pretend there's a fire here. But we'll get to that some other time at some later date in someone's yard when the ticks are not so in abundance. Okay, so we can do that. We can have a nice little fire ceremony, our own version of a campfire. And we won't sing Kumbaya. We're going to sing Hare Krishna. Okay, right. So thank you very much for doing this, and perhaps other people will come forward and do the same. Thank you. So we'll just ask if you could do something by offering obeisance. I think maybe you've been primed a little bit by Srimala, our fearless leader here. Srimala, everybody knows Srimala, standing up there, the blue boy. Haribol. Haribol. Jai. Namo Vishwadaya Sustainability. Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swami Namaste Namaste Saraswati Vikoramani Vijay. Shri Shinyavati Postachati Shatarini. Thank you very much. Haribol. Okay, if you'd like to sit, oh, that's wonderful. Okay, great. Good. I'm holding the beads that you have chosen for using, and they're very rough, and I appreciate that. They came right off the tree, like yesterday, perhaps. Yeah, and I remember when George Harrison was talking to our friend Mukunda Maharaj about how he and the friends were traveling through the Canary Islands, and they were chanting so much on their beads that they were rough, but they chanted so much that it rounded off. That the beads, like I'm showing, see this one? Seems like it's imperfect, but I see it totally as organic. But if you chant on these beads a lot, they can round off at some point in time. Thank you. All right, so we're just going to ask if you could tell us what are the 4 regulative principles that you would.
No gambling, no intoxication, no illicit sex, and no meat eating.
I love your voice. Okay, that's great. It's very clear. And yes, and about the, I was in South Africa last year. Some initiations went on. I was with another guru there, and he initiated some people as well as I did. And he was asked, what are the 4 regular principles? And this man, I think he's about 97, like that. And when it came to the point, no illicit sex, and he said, wow, Maharaj, what do you think? All right. And so how many rounds will you chant on these
A
beads?
minimum of 16 rounds a day.
Okay, great. You will train that the best. Okay, so we're just going to give you a Sanskrit name that starts with a T, and it's a word that does appear in the Bhagavad Gita, and it refers to power and brilliant. It's a quality of a Kshatriya and just powerful, influential people. Okay, so here we go. Now when I hear your voice, I can see there you will have influence. Okay. All right. So the name is Tejas Das. That's T. I'll write it down for you if you like. Okay. I'll get that to you later. So thank you. What we'll do now is, I guess you can go back to your seat. Thank you very much. Just keep in mind, Prabhupada's your main guru. I'm your Diksha guru. I'm a little guru. He's the big one. Haribol. Thank you. Joy. It is those of you who know Sanskrit and a little Hindi, it's a good word. 2 syllables. Sorry, but we progressed. We went from Tom, 1 syllable, to 2 syllables. Tejas, yay! And then the Das at the end. Das means the servant of God. The problem most people have in this physical world is that everyone thinks I'm the boss. So instead of boss, it's Das. Okay? Thank you very much. And then at a later date, we'll do the ceremony. And I guess, how many people can you accommodate on your backyard
Quite a few. We plan on doing it at the summer.
in the summer?
Yeah.
Okay, great. Try to be there. Okay, now what we're going to do here is Srimala's putting neck beads around Tejas Das, aka Tom, fair. And that this is simply a mark to denote I'm Krishna's follower. That's what it means. Yeah. Krishna's dog. Like Krishna's my master. Thank you so much. He looks good, doesn't he? Comfortable. Look at that toe. Look at that. Yeah. Thank you so much for doing this, for helping our movement and allowing our family to grow. So I guess at this point, perhaps if you're interested, just to remind yourselves, anybody, it's not just Tejas here. I think it's a real, when I looked at today's verse 5:3, I thought, wow, this is a good one. It's a real good one. Very appropriate. Sure. Do we, because it's a normal presentation and our Diksha initiation ceremonies mixed. I thought it'd be great if anybody has any questions or comments, like if you liked anything we said, you could just put up here and say, I like when you said blah, 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 blah. Okay? And explain why. And then if there's something that I said that I didn't like when you said blah, 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 then we'll be in the back alley.
Namaste.
Yeah, namaste. Yeah. Hare Krishna. There's some woods out there. Yes. Does anybody have any questions, including yourself or anybody out there? Anything? Because I know there's some new folks here, and we really want to make you feel at home. And if you have anything in your mind of questions, just want to reiterate that this is a very old tradition. It goes back thousands of years. We're not making up anything new. It's the oldest still existing culture on the planet Earth. We've been around for a long time. The practices, the yoga, the karma yoga, the bhakti yoga, chanting of mantras, and as far as dancing goes, like we just did a few minutes ago, there's a history for dance. And I want to point out Nityananda Pran. He is you've got a band going, right? And you're traveling all over the world with your band, presenting the story of Ram Leela. And it's doing really well, isn't it? Done in a storytelling type fashion with live music and all that. So I just wanted you to be recognized for this. And maybe we can talk about doing a big fundraiser for a temple that has to happen here in Cleveland. Srimala, I didn't say anything. We didn't talk about this, but it's something you can think about. I think we have to think big and start doing nice things on a large scale to the devotees, and do great promotion and have a great cultural event. Because it's a very rich culture. It really is. I used to go to the secondary school level in Canada, and especially in the Catholic school system where they teach religions, comparative religions. And there was one school I went to, and it was an Italian fellow who was the teacher, and to introduce me. And he put it like this: now, what we're going to do today, I'm introducing you to a person here who's been practicing a form of spirituality that's very old, and it has roots from India. And he was saying, And it's a very, very rich. Then he was trying to think of what other descriptive adjectives he could give to describe. It's very rich, yes. And it's very rich. Yes, it's very deep and it's very rich. I'm not talking about monetarily. It's just talking about there's incredible depth to the culture, philosophy, the culinary power. Let's see, what else? The ways of therapy, the ways of getting yourself calmed down, the way to, let's say, to be clean and all those kind of wonderful things. And what to speak of the dress code and all that. Yeah. So it's good. The meditation's strong. Everything. Anyways, he couldn't find another word. It's just very rich. That's all. I got introduced. So anything, does anybody have anything they like? Yes.
I would like to introduce our new friend, Mary Ellen. And her story is fantastic. She was introduced to come here today.
I was in Peru over a week ago, and I got an
Indian astrology
Oh, am I
reading.
not talking
A little
about
bit louder.
Indian astrology reading from a shaman? And he actually told me to come.
To this address, Pierogi Palace.
Meeting at the
He told me
Ukraine.
that he wrote down,
Yeah. Oh, okay.
he wrote down.
Down Srila Prabhupada, and he also wrote down Hare Krishna to say the Maha Mantra. And this was all related to, he did my past life, and he actually shared at 27, I lost a baby. He actually shared right on. In my past life, I was very violent. And as a remedy, he suggested I find a Hare Krishna in Cleveland. And
Wow.
I was looking it up in Peru on my phone. And I just feel like crying because years ago in my 20s, I was in California and I was struggling to heal. And I found a Paramahansa Yogananda temple.
Oh, yes.
My car pulled in there and I still have the paragrams or whatever they're called. And I just feel like I bypassed, because of my addiction, bypassed my spirituality, but he told me to focus on my spirituality. I'm 69 the rest of my life. And I thought that was beautiful. And today I thought I was at the wrong address. And luckily, and I can't remember, Sharon, I was pulling out and Sharon was pulling in because I read to the door and I read the Ukrainian thing. And I thought,
Well, the fish.
but the address was right. Yeah, so I'm glad to be here. And thank you. Thank you.
That's an amazing story.
Thank you for your presence here.
Okay, thank you. I'm so glad you.
I put my shoes hoping I absorb some of your energy.
Well, thank you. And, it was meant to be for you to be here. Yes. It's magical. Divine intervention, if you will. Yeah. Thanks to your shaman,
Yeah,
Yeah.
I was in a sweat lodge with him before that,
I see.
and
you all sweat.
different retreat. Yeah, I was sweating. It was a different type of retreat. It was a yoga retreat in
Aha.
the Sacred Valley of Peru.
Wow.
And it was two yoga studios are in Cleveland. The Studio Cleveland and Lakewood Yoga, but the owner, her ex-husband, took over the studios just recently. So she's going through her own battle.
Stuff.
Yeah, her own. She's on her own battlefield. The battlefield.
Yeah.
And but in the background, we're all on the journey, and I thank you.
Oh, thank you for your story. It's wonderful. Wow. Wonderful. Namaste. Hare Krishna. Anybody else? Any things they want to share?
Talking about outfits, I was just going to say that some people think outfits are bed sheets.
Some people think they're bed sheets. I used to think that. We used to have polyester clothes. We didn't have cotton or silk or anything or jute material. So we just surrender to, and we get a strip of cloth that's white or orange or so yellow. There was people wearing yellow, and yeah, now, but they help you if you have a tick problem. They show up really, and they are comfortable. Yes.
Maharaja, just want to acknowledge your presence. It's been many years since we've met, but although I live in Cleveland, I'm unable to participate here so much because of the work that I do is very physically demanding, and Sunday is the only day I get to revive myself
Wow.
physically. But right now, being in your presence, I want to share with you that I feel energized
Wow.
spiritually as well. And someone who, like you, who's been practicing and sharing Krishna consciousness for so many decades, just being in your presence has given me a new, I guess, vigor. And I want to just acknowledge and thank you for that.
All I can say is you're too much nice. Thank you, Nityananda Prana. Maybe we can work out some programs that will help us to, because eventually we do want to get a temple, right, of sorts. So, well, yeah, for, you know, I mean, we got to the details. Doesn't have to be anything big, colossal, but something we can call our own, and you know, we're a place where we gather, do our bhakti. And it doesn't have to be elaborate temple, anything like that. It could be just a meaningful place. Yeah. All right. Anybody else?
I just want to add what I wrote down what he was telling me. I wrote down what he was telling me. In the same measure you surrender unto me, I am perfectly reciprocal. And then he also shared focus on devotion and practice and trust in God.
Nice.
This is like my.
Who is this guy, anyway?
He is a shaman, and he is 10 years sober, and he's very seeking and very profound. I don't know who he is. I can look it up and send it to you because I have your card.
Yes.
If you do want that, I could do that.
Yeah.
He's I know Italians there's groups of Italians in Peru.
Oh, I see. Very good.
He's Italian.
And if it's all right to say, you reminded me of something. I did some books, if anybody's interested, books on Korean about my walking experiences. If anybody's interested, they're still in the van. Okay. Anything? Would you like to wrap it up?
Yeah, if you want, if you're up for leading us in a little kirtan, when we can get ready to
Does the group here know Jai Radha Madhava? Because I didn't open with that. Okay, there's a word somewhere. Okay, Jai.
Never heard of it.
And congratulations to Tejas Prabhu. Yeah, with a voice like that, Tejas, you can definitely influence people. Yeah. No, I'll be good like this. Okay, we won't do any fingers. Okay, we'll do it line by line. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Again, Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha. Gopi Janna Vallabha Girvaradhari. Gopi Janna Vallabha Girvaradhari. Yashodanandana Prajajana Ranjana Yashodanandana Prajajana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Ajayara Amadhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Janna Vallabha Girvardhari Gopi Janna Vallabha Girvardhari Yashodanandana Prajajana Ranjana Yashodanandana Prajajana Ranjana Yashodanandana Jana Yashodanandana Prajajana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Get those hands up, 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 up. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Radha Madhava Kunj Bihari Jai Radha Madhava Kunj Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunj Bihari Oh Jaya Radha Madhava Kunj Bihari Jai, thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Hare Krishna. Can I take a picture of everyone? Is that okay?
Can we just bring the chairs a little closer together, like the chairs? Some people just. Go to the back. We want jolly faces, happy faces. Hey, you're involved. Come on in. Okay. So some people can stand up. Go to the back. And we just